Hi guys, we're here at the Sydney Story Factory in Redfern to discuss the film Paper Pilots, Paper Planes rather. In cinemas at the moment, starring Sam Worthington, we're joined by the real life Paper Pilots, or should we say Paper Kids?
Paper Pilots, they're professionals.
Professionals.
That's right.
Mr. Dylan Parker and James Norton.
Thanks for having us, Lydia.
Thanks for being here, guys. Taking some time out of your busy schedule. I can imagine you guys have been in demand after the film's release. Now, what I wanted to discuss today is what most people probably don't know, that the film was inspired by a true story, your very own story. Now, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Our very own story. So Dylan and I met at a regional paper plane competition in Canberra when we were going to uni.
Yeah.
And we became great friends through that. There's quite a story behind it.
Okay.
I don't know how much you want me to go through, but...
However much you're
Sure.
comfortable
So
with.
Dylan turned up to this paper plane competition. I'd never met him before, but he had a padded suitcase full of amazing planes.
Oh wow.
And he was throwing them around. There was like stingrays and darts and gliders, and they were just flying beautifully. And I was just like, I'm gonna like this kid a lot
wow.
because he's so cool. You know, he's just like me. He loves throwing flying planes. So Dylan won his way through to the distance category, and I won the time aloft category. And so this is in Sydney at the the state championships or the national championships in Australia.
Yeah.
And you know, we kind of became friends through the regionals, but when we won our way through to the world championships together, it was great because
Yeah.
get to go with Dylan.
The world championships were in Austria,
Okay.
and we went over as the Australian team, so we represented Australia in paper plane throwing.
So how does that actually work? Like you're folding planes, next thing you end up in freaking Austria.
Oh, it was crazy. It was the weirdest thing to explain to people. You're like, oh, what are you doing? Oh, I'm going overseas. And we're going to the World Paper Plane Championships. I'm like, oh, good, it's funny. It's
Good line.
You're so quirky, Dylan. No, but it was totally legit, and we got really serious about it, and we started training really hard, and you know, like we got really good at folding, like we, you know, and we were doing
Did lots of research and wave training.
So while other people are in the gym training for like a bodybuilding competition, you were like
We were bodybuilding as well. Yeah.
So we
Our fingers.
oh, totally. You've got to get some.
You got amazing. Wow.
Anyway, there you go.
All right.
Yeah.
So how did Robert? So the film is directed by Australian. Wow.
Nailed it.
That didn't win the distance, did it? That
It didn't. It was a camera plane.
Yeah, soft plane.
So the film was directed by Australian director Robert Connolly. How did he hear about your story, and how did he actually approach you guys to turn these into an actual film?
Yeah, well, when we were in Austria for the World Championships, we and I got third, and it was an amazing sort of competition, and you know, we got a bit of media attention from it, so we got a few interviews while we were over there. I think I did an interview with Adam Spencer on the ABC, which was hilarious, and it was really fun. And eventually, the guys at Australian Story got hold of the whole thing, and I think they're used to doing really serious sort of stuff, so they thought, oh, let's do something on this story. So we did an episode of Australian Story, which is it's actually in the process of being updated now, so you'll probably be able to see it online. Sort of like a
5 years on.
This is
where are they now?
at. Yeah, but they did a the documentary on us and our trip to the World Championships, and I think Robert Connolly had been looking for something to turn into a kids' film in Australia for quite a while, because the way he explained it to us is that, and it's so true, is that all the kids' movies in Australia are very American. You know, you're always watching, you know, the animated series and Pixar and all those sorts of guys. And I think he was worried that all the heroes that kids were, you know, idolising in films were American, or you know, it wasn't necessarily an Australian experience. So he thought, you know, a kids' movie for kids in Australia about Australian kids would be a great idea. So I think when Paper Planes came along, he went, yep, amazing, perfect opportunity. So he got in touch, gave us a call. We thought he was we thought it was a bit of a prank at first. Like, it's a bit strange, isn't it?
But what he realised was that, you know, paper planes are really visual and they're also incredibly marketable because everybody's
Yeah.
folded a plane. There's that
Yeah.
hereditary thing where
Everyone can
parents
relate
and
to it.
yeah,
100%.
so yeah, you know,
Yeah, like
yes,
yeah, everybody.
film. Get that?
It's a film. It's in cinemas right now. Wow. So, how did you feel when you got that phone call? What was your initial response? Like, did you run home and tell your parents or call your friends?
I mean, to get a film made in Australia is quite hard, and he deserves a lot of the credit because he really chased, you know, finances to get support for this idea for the film. So, for a long time, it was sort of, you know, just rallying those people to get them on board behind the idea. And he's just done an incredible job to get it in cinemas, and the way, and you know, all credit to him, it's done exceptionally well. So
he approached you with the idea, but he didn't actually have the financial backing or anything like that when he did that. So it was like,
yeah,
hey, would you be interested in making a film?
yeah, writing a script to put a proposal together. So we spent some time in his office, you know, folding planes, putting them in boxes with the script, and getting you know them sent around to investors and things. So
Oh wow, that's an interesting.
Yeah.
And how did they respond to that?
Really well.
Obviously. Silly question. Let's move on.
Oh, it's so funny.
That's so. How do you guys are machines? How are you like folding so many in like?
We followed a few, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So wow. So what inspired you to actually take this story and transform it into an actual film? Like, what was it about the medium that made you go, wow, this is a story that needs to reach a wider audience? And do you feel like film was the right medium to do that? Like, what was the motivation behind actually taking
100%.
the story to the big screen?
I guess we could see that from paper pilots when we go around to schools and festivals that people have an instant affinity with planes, and so by seeing that love that, you know, breaks down the barriers between, you know, parents and child and grandparent, all those sorts of things, means that, you know, obviously everybody's, you know, really receptive to this idea. So you know, what better way to take it to a broader audience than through film?
Yeah.
And do you feel like that? Well, Robert did a good job in actually taking the essence of what your journey was like as actual paper pilots
100%,
and translating that in the actual film.
Yeah, I think initially I think his curiosity was, you know, these guys are so excited about planes, and so you know, there's so much energy, and he wanted to sort of understand that. So he spent a lot of time with us early on in the process, just trying to understand that. And I think he quite early on got that whole childish energy of you know what it's like to throw a plane. I think he understood that quite quickly.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. I think he's done a fantastic job in actually, you know, carrying that excitement and that passion and the same feeling of when you drop a box of paper planes into a room of people, you know, and everyone's throwing planes around. I think he's captured that perfectly in almost every part of the film.
So
Dylan's mum taught him his first plane, and so that sort of sowed the seed for him loving flying toys and all sorts of things throughout his childhood. And it was the same with Robert. His mum taught him origami, so there was that there was that connection that they knew that there was something in this that would attract kids, especially in these day and age with tablets and iPhones, that sort of thing. So it's a really tactile design object to perform the function of flight. And what's more exciting for a kid than flying a toy or making and creating their own thing and seeing that satisfaction take flight.
So is this your way of trying to get kids off their iPads and their Nintendos and getting back out into the backyard and getting their hands dirty and, well, not really dirty, but and actually going back to that joy of
absolutely, yeah. It's a social thing too, you're just folding a plane. It's like drawing. People are kind of curious and want to join in, or you just pass them a paper and say, let's get amongst it. And they're like, oh, okay.
There's something that's really cool about planes though, as well, is that when you're playing sports and you're doing lots of things, there's always those social divisions. And so there's kids that are excluded, and there's the cool kids and the not cool kids and whatever. When you've got planes and you're throwing with a bunch of kids, that disappears. And I don't think there's anything else, like any other kind of sport or school activity or things like that is the same way. So, whether you're poor or you're rich or you're you know, you've got the best shoes, all that sort of stuff just disappears. And it's just all about the planes. I think that happens every time we go to a school, every time we...
I mean, you can
it's
make
beautiful.
a paper plane out of like scrap paper.
That's it. It's the cheapest toy you can make. It's accessible to everybody.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how far your imagination can take you as well. I mean, like, Jesus, you guys have come up with some awesome inventions. All right, so then, what was that the intention then, to just grab the sort of idea of the paper planes and then create a different story around that? How true is the actual film to the real life story?
I think when you're making a movie, very quickly we realised that the story would have to fit around the way that they would be able to produce it. So it's very difficult to shoot planes and things like that. I think at the same time there's certain themes and things that you need to have in a story for kids to be, you know, excited about. You know, the narrative and things like that. So I think what Robert's done is he's taken lots of different elements and things that he thinks, you know, knows would be successful and would be important to people in Australia, because, you know, like we were saying before, American films have very different values and themes and things like that. So I think he's put all that together in a way that it's kind of like he's picked all the different things and put it all together in this one little, you know, crazy mashup of ideas. And I think, so he's taken a lot from us, but he's taken a lot from a lot of other places as well. So it's, you know, there's some really interesting characters, you know, that have come to light. I think there's a few during filming where they, you know, the actor brought the characters so much to life that changed the story in a way. So he had to rewrite the script and do changes on the fly and things. So it's sort of a big growing beast, that whole.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So you guys were on set during the filming. And he was in Perth.
Yeah,
right?
so we spent a month in Perth folding planes and like inventing planes for the character progression, like as their planes developed through the film. So I think there was about 45 different planes that we invented, especially.
Like on set.
A lot gets lost on the cutting room floor, but you know, there's some beautiful
Was it
planes.
devastating?
No, not at all. Like actually, it's funny. You sit in the theatre and there's kids and there's adults. They're all laughing and picking up on different key points, and people getting emotional at certain points. And I mean, it is people, but then I'm there like kind of getting teary and emotional just at the scenes where there's these beautiful planes that have been captured so well. You know, it seems
You're like,
really
that
selfish.
plane that just flew by, just
I
glided.
remember when we came up with that design. It was a beautiful moment.
It was like my Everest.
We lost one good plane. There was one plane that we really loved. It got the
Horn Room.
unfortunately, there was a
Poor Horn Room.
in the book, but it's this beautiful design, and it didn't fit into the story where it needed to. It was just We'll have
Kudos to you, Horn Room. Next time.
Fantastic.
So how many planes did you guys actually fold for the movie?
I think about 5,000 or so just for the set. So I remember that pool scene where kids are throwing on the pool. Imagine how many planes we lost that day. They had like two divers in the pool, like collecting these planes each take, you know.
Yeah.
Was that devastating seeing all that hard work go to like waste all the crashes, all the
If you type in 10,000 paper planes, that's like a Victorian art project in Melbourne by an artist called Ross Coulter.
Yeah.
We didn't fold all the planes, but there was 14,000 planes thrown on that day, and at the end of that day, you know, imagine the mess that would have made, and raking all those planes up and putting them into bags. It was like,
Devastating.
you know, 20 minutes of footage, and it was like 7 months worth of folding, you know. So,
Oh wow.
so you know, 5,000 is not too bad. It's all relative.
Oh well, I guess. So just going back to when you guys, you know, were told that this movie was going to be produced, and you know, going through that journey, how did you feel when you found out that Sam Worthington was going to be playing your father? I mean, really, he was more like your supporting actor. You were the lead.
Yeah.
It was kind of ridiculous. It was sort of because we didn't really have sort of full confidence the movie was going to get made, because of, you know, how hard it is to get a movie up in Australia.
Yeah, of course.
So I think the one key moment where you know the movie is definitely going to get made is when the actors start getting locked in, and I think we got a phone call from Robert, and he said, so we're going to make it. I said, that's the first thing I'm like, what are you talking about? Oh, the movie. It's actually going to get made. And he started rattling off the actors, and I was like, hold on. And he's talking about Sam Worthington, Deborah Mailman, and David Wenham, and you know, and you're like, this is the real thing.
Yeah.
These are some of the greatest actors in Australia at the moment. It was kind of like, it was a little bit humbling. You're sort of like, wow, this is really taking off, and you sort of, you know,
It was
an amazing film.
fun meeting their families on set too, because some of them have kids and throwing planes around.
Yeah.
Maybe it was more like, "Dad, do it.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Do you have any goals when as well? Like, whoa, anybody, any dirt?
David Wenham's not great at folding. He should get back into some paper pilots lessons.
If you look really closely at the film, Deborah Mailman's throwing this plane backwards.
Oh,
But you can cut that out.
No, she was great. She was great on set though. She's so
She's hilarious.
Yeah.
She played the character very well.
Yeah.
Actually, when I
Yeah,
saw the film,
totally.
I thought there's nobody could have done that better.
And there's like an
Yeah.
SBS featurette where she throws the plane. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
So that was the actual plane that she apparently
Yeah,
had.
that's right.
Guys, we're running out of
We're never running out of paper.
No.
endless supply, so endless supply. All right, so now,
Throw it back.
so that was a really interesting. I'm here with 2 kids, by the way, trying to conduct an interview that is just not happening.
Oh, that was a good one. Enjoyed that.
All right, so I found that really interesting. Actually, I thought, given that this was a kids' movie, Sam Worthington was actually playing a more serious role, and he's not really, as an actor, not known to play those sort of like deeper, more complex,
Yeah.
disturbed roles. Do you feel like you did a good job in portraying, you know?
Oh, we've had all the critics are saying it's one of his best performances.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know, I think that might be his niche, or I don't know. One of his many talents is just
Yeah.
being able to support kids in a family film.
Yeah.
Because they lead the story, like with Paper Planes. Like Dylan carries the story all the way along, and Ed Oxenbould, an actor, and he's just
And that
so
kid-
young.
He was such a brilliant actor.
Yeah.
And that kid can fold too. Like he's
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's-
and same with Nicholas. Jason, the bad kid in the film.
Yeah. Yeah, he was quite the character.
He can fold a really hard plane that I can. When I first learnt, it was really hard to do.
Yeah.
We had a race on the final day of the set, and he was 2 seconds behind me by the end of it.
Yeah.
And he can throw a plane now and catch it in his mouth, or like get it to return to him. He's like a savant of paper planes.
So how much of then, like, of the film was actually real and was staged then? Like, when they were
we had a few
blowing-
sessions with
flying
them
the
in Sydney
planes.
where we trained them to like throw, to make them
Yeah.
natural throwers, and kind of understand the science behind flight and what you have to look for in a plane to problem solve it and trim
Oh, wow.
it to get it working properly. Because a lot of times when you're standing on set, and you've done a take, you still have to get the plane to make a certain distance to leave the frame. So
Yeah.
those kids really had to be on the ball and know how to
Yeah.
get their planes to leave the frame of the shot, or correct their planes themselves if we're not available to like get them to fly. So
Yeah.
I think the
They did
most
really
amazing
well.
thing as well though is that there's certain parts of the movie where there's CGI planes, and that's that was a really big concern of ours. We're like, CGI can be bad, and if it's not done properly, and there's so much physics involved in it.
Yeah.
But I think when you introduce paper planes into that, it's even more complex. There's so many different scientific, forces and the way
Variables.
paper behaves, and it's so hard. So we spent a lot of time working with the CGI team and sending them boxes of planes so that they could scan them in, and explaining different things on how planes fly and kind of
the behaviours that we would
Yeah.
expect from footage or something. So
and it's like we filmed a lot and showed them how planes actually flew. So we sent them lots of footage and things like that. I think
Yeah.
they got it really well.
But you're working with how many designs did you say? In total? 45?
45.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the boxes that we were sending them were like suspending planes inside boxes so they wouldn't get crumpled and creased and stuff
Yeah.
like
Oh,
that.
wow. So you had to understand the physics behind 45 different styles of planes that you were inventing.
100%.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
when you hand a plane
Yeah.
to a kid, like we'll fold one in a sec, but each plane you have to throw differently. It
Yeah.
behaves differently out of the hand, so you have to learn how to fold that plane to
Yeah.
perform that function. But and kids quickly pick up on that, and they start out just pegging it and have a lot of failures, but they get better and better.
Yeah. Okay. So, look, just going back to the film now. I feel like the film has broken a lot of records. It's a huge deal for the Australian film industry. Really, it is, and all compliments to you guys. Rarely does an Australian film even get produced, let alone be shown in cinemas, let alone be, have such huge success. You guys have drawn in like $6 million profits after just 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think it's at 7.2 now or something. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
wow.
still getting climbing higher, but
And I mean, there's films out there like you've got Unbroken, Angelina Jolie's first, directed film, and you've got so many American, competitors out there. It's a pretty amazing thing. So, what do you think it is about your story that stood out and made the audience, attracted such a large audience?
well, sort of as Robert kind of picked up on was that Australians want to see Australian stories and Australian kids, and they go to see family films, so Crocodile Dundee, Storm Boy, Red Dog, they were all really successful, but he could see that idea through Planes and knew that it was a winner, so he just had to convince the right people to support it, and now the proof's in the pudding.
Well, exactly.
You can pick the gap as well. There's like that gap that where there's not a lot of Australian kids coming out there, and so at the right time, pick the perfect moment to bring it out.
And it's also it's one of those, as we said before, it's like a generational thing. Like it's not just kids that are going. The distributor at Roadshow is now finding there's teenage kids going, and there's grandparents taking their kids or wanting to learn. So that we've had stories that kids at swimming carnivals have been stealing the microphone, going go see the film, it's really good.
Inspiring others.
Like year 12 kids, and that market, was would have been what we expect, people that are liking it, for different reasons, which is fantastic.
I won't lie, when I actually saw the film, I overheard a mother say to her daughter, I think I need a box of tissues now. Like it's a film that I think inspires the kids out of actual adults. So I think it's more than just a kids film. It's a film that everybody can sort of relate to their childhood, and it's a great drama, but then has that sort of comedy in it. It's got this light feel throughout it. But
I think that's why it's a real film. Like it's real, it feels real, and it's relatable, and it's kids are like coming up that I don't even know, and just hugging me, and it's just, it feels like they were given permission to be open about how they feel about things, and obviously a lot of people are lucky enough to have great mums like we do, and so they pick up on that theme, and they feel comfortable with saying how much they like the film for those reasons too, which is great.
Yeah, fantastic. I need to be careful. This is like a hazard
make sharp ones. So,
you haven't closed the aerodrome yet, so we're just going to keep going.
So, when I think Paper Planes, I think childhood fun, imagination. Everybody grew up making paper planes. You boys have literally taken this first to a national stage, then an international stage. Now you've made a film starring Sam Worthington. I mean, what do you guys have to say to the non-believers out there, the adults of the world?
Absolutely. You go through life, and sometimes there's tiny little opportunities and things like that, and sometimes you take them, sometimes you don't. And I think the beautiful thing about this story is that we took this little tiny opportunity to go in a tiny little paper plane contest 6 years ago in this tiny little town in Canberra. And it could have been something that we very easily didn't do. We could have just gone and done something else that day. But the idea that we could just take this one little opportunity and it turned into this massive snowballing, it turned into a dream of ours. And you can just follow that. And I think the lesson out of that is, take those little opportunities. You never know where it might take you.
Yeah. So, it's been, a film where we're looking into a book now, is that right?
Yeah, there's a book already published by Steve Warland, who was the co-writer to the film with Robert, which has a few of our designs in it, but we're looking for a publisher to publish the designs from the film at the moment. So hopefully
any publishers?
Any publishers out there, give us a call. Wow. It's been such a snowballing effect, as you said. I mean, it's literally gone
competition, Australian story, designing planes for like whatever balloons, the 10,000 paper planes project in Melbourne, which was massive, and now the film. It's like, what's next?
Exactly. So, I mean, what do you think the future has in store for the Paper Pilots?
Well, I think the book's what I'm focusing on at the moment, because I think it's every time I watch the film or have kids come up to me afterwards, they're always like, can you show me how to make Clive? It takes 3 hours and 40 minutes now.
It's the complex plane at the end of the movie, and so the kids are like, yeah, show me how to make that one. It's like, yeah.
Have this one. You know, that sort of thing. Who knows what's going to happen? Yeah.
Some sort of
What-
world
some
record.
sort of world
yeah,
record.
definitely. I think that's going to be the icing on the cake for me. Is some sort of Guinness World Record. I think so.
It'd be really nice to start up like an actual junior world championships as well. You know, for
An
like kids
actual
to actually
one,
join, or even
yeah.
getting into the Olympics. You know, there's other sports in the
Yeah,
Olympics
but
that are
ping
quite.
pong got in there. Yeah.
Yeah, yep, synchronized
How is
swimming.
that a
You
sport?
know.
Come on, if King Kong can make some.
Actually, I think ping pong's pretty technical, but you know.
I've been practicing.
But, you
It's
know.
my backup career. That's good.
So in case this doesn't work out,
Yeah.
it can be a ping pong
It's like when they run out of sporting ideas, like skating on ice, dancing on ice, couples dancing on ice. It's like they're splitting hairs now. They're getting down there. It's like, why not have kids doing a sport? Because that's just as international as soccer or something. You know,
Yeah.
kids are part of the world community as well. Why not?
Yeah,
Why
right.
not they get
Yeah.
involved? You know, the kids can be inspirational as well, not just
And this is what
sporting
kids
athletes,
do.
adults.
Exactly right.
I think we need to get in touch with the ISE.
Yeah, what's Juan Antonio? Is he still around?
I think that was a while ago.
All right, I have one final request for you guys. And if I'm sort of like giving away any sort of top secrets, then, like we don't have to go there, maybe show me in private. I'm going to ask you, if we have any paper left, if you guys could fold me the plane that got you to Austria.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
No
So
worries.
the plane that got you guys to Austria and made this film actually
Here's
happen.
one I prepared earlier.
Oh yes.
Here I am thinking like someone's going to steal this. Someone will be watching from Japan going, I want to win this big competition out of it. So, wow.
So it looks quite boring and simple, but wide wing, so it's a glider. It's got lots of weight at the front, so you use your legs, your arms, your gut to throw it as high as you can and let it circle to the ground. The only difference with this plane is that you press bumps into the leading edge of the wing, just like a whale. So, Kimmy in the film talks about, getting things from nature. Well, there was a reference to, the whale, for example, and her whale plane. So they're just bumps on the leading pectoral fin of a whale that make them more efficient through the water, and you can apply those things to nature into a form of design. So that was my plane, and Dylan's knocking up
I'm
his.
nearly here.
Oh, wow.
What's it called again?
The Raptor.
Ooh.
Yeah, such a good name as well. Well, that's half the
That's
battle of a
Yeah, you gotta
plane
have a cool name, doesn't
Gotta
it?
make
The
that.
Raptor. Yeah, so you had to
Yeah.
come up with like 45. Can you actually show me how to make this? I want to show
Will
off.
you remember?
This is a really good,
You've got
like a really good like dinner party
You gotta focus.
conversation starter.
Yeah, you gotta focus. So it's just like this is peak concentration.
Okay,
All right.
okay.
So you're gonna do his?
This one. Oh no, let's make.
What about a simple one to start with?
Yeah,
Or you want the world
I want one
championships?
championships.
you want
I want
one
to go
that you want
straight to the top.
performs
I don't
the-
want all the like.
This isn't a dinner party plane.
No.
This is a danger plane.
That's PG rated, so you need
we need a G-rated plane. All right. We do it in Nakamura.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So fold the plane in half. So you got portrait.
Yeah,
Fold it in half.
yeah.
So this one's a never fail. This one will always fly perfectly. This
So it's
consistency
folding
plane.
it.
Yeah.
And now you're
Yeah.
going to fold it into a house shape.
Yeah.
Folding these
Yeah.
ones down to that center crease that you just made before.
Yeah, so this is the traditional plane that I grew up making.
We're going to show you how to make it like 80% better with a few tweaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has been long in development.
Yeah, this one the design that we'll show you is the one that has the proportions for good enough for the 10,000 paper planes project. So this one's just true out of the hand perfectly. So you want to make sure you have a centimeter.
Yeah, you gotta
Oh,
have a bit more.
That's a really crucial thing. You get the
Yeah.
envelope, but there's that gap, that small gap of a centimeter.
yeah.
And this is like trial and error. We've done thousands of these.
I think that's right.
So once you got to that point, you want to
Sam folding.
yeah, you can put your finger 4 centimeters from the bottom of that point there,
Okay.
and you just fold down towards that center point there. So you still have a flat bit at the top. It's important.
Okay. And what does that do? Have I got it?
So right to the center line.
I like that. Okay, so
Yeah.
it doesn't need to be.
Yeah. So it ends up going to an envelope, and then it goes into a rocket shape.
Ooh, making a rocket ship.
Good fun.
And I actually have sent a few.
It's important to try, isn't it? It's important to try.
Yeah, we had an astronaut in space at film station. I'm not very good at maths. You're not. Well, you're very good at maths. It's,
No, not particularly good at anything.
no.
But.
Yeah.
So now we're going to fold this up over the top to lock it in place.
Fantastic.
Yep.
So that's the Nakamura lock part because
So
it
what-
locks those folds together. So now when we fold it in half along the crease that we
Inside
made
out?
earlier,
Yeah. Nailed
with the
it.
guts of all those folds visible on the outside, the next step is to
Is that
fold. What I do is I fold over my fingers, but where the line goes is important because it sets the angle of attack. So it's going to be about 1 inch at the back, and it cuts through the top of that triangle there, and the crease finishes just below where those two folds meet.
is that sort of?
Yeah, that's fine.
Nailed it.
Oh wow.
So once you do that, you have it on the desk in front of you, and you're looking at this bottom point because you're going to draw the plane down. Once it gets even with that point there, you hold it in place and then just squash it down, and you'll know that it's going to be symmetrical and even every time.
All right.
That's what you want, your
Is that
balance
what
and
it looks like?
symmetry.
Well, here's the kicker. This is the kicker. This is one of the things that everyone makes mistakes. So see how your wings are pointing down?
Yeah.
The trick is push your wings up so that when you look at the plane from behind, it makes a Y shape.
It's called dihedral. So lots of people like make the mistake of having anhedral, which is that negative. You want to have that Y shape, which is dihedral. Helps it keep stable, and we
So
find.
like when
Oh,
you're
wow.
flying a normal plane, that's why the wings are up a little bit like that. So they do the same thing.
So you guys invented this yourselves?
No.
This is a very common plane that's in most paper plane books. It's always like the starting plane that people learn to develop from. Because once you master one plane,
Yeah.
then you can trim this up to get it flying right. That's when you move on to the next plane.
Yeah.
So
We do want you to peek through earlier. But you just sort of got to start at the beginning, you know.
Yeah. So.
And here's the. Oh, you got the front.
yeah,
So
so
you-
Yeah.
So fold the front up a couple of times.
once, twice. I do it 3. Dylan does it 2. You know, we have our own versions.
Yeah.
Still that rivalry.
There it is.
All right.
Cool. And that adds a bit of weight to the front, and you can just.
Yeah. I actually wanted to
Yeah.
say you could throw this a further.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
So what happens? So if I actually win this, does that make me the world champion because I beat you guys?
Yes.
We have. Yeah.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
You're
we'll-
awesome.
We'll say that.
Okay, let's get a shot of us doing this. Oh fucking hell, you guys!
There's a bit of a mess going on.
It's just called ornamentation of the shot.
Oh, okay. All right, let's actually like set this up.
Alright.
Oh yeah, we've got lines, don't we?
Oh yeah.
We need to
do
make
too.
distance markers or something. Let's put the seats like in a row down the aisle.
Oh, this is amazing. This is
So this was your plane. I think one of those.
Oh, I love this plane, James, so much. I think it's perfect. Like I think I've reached that pinnacle. I'm like a monk.
I know.
Look at this.
Oh, that is amazing.
It's so nice. I get all emotional when I make it.
So the mark. All right, we should do like how many of these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is 20.
very optimistic, isn't she?
I think so.
So if we make it to this guy, that's like 20.
What's the wager here?
I'm going to say feet, I think. Oh, yeah, done.
What's it? Come on.
I'd like to do the climb a tree.
I still have those photos. I'm putting black down. But, okay.
Oh, Dylan! Oh.
Alright, so we'll make this is something I prepared. Actually, hang on. Don't shoot yet.
That was my
What's
fake plane. This is my real plane.
So this is something I prepared earlier.
Yep.
Alright, so this will be the starting line, and then if we make it to like the alien guy there,
Yep.
that's 20 feet.
20 feet.
20 feet.
I think that's about 15 and a half meters, yeah?
15 and a half meters. Okay.
Right.
So
33 quarters.
so apparently if
Heavy
I win
American
this,
market.
I will now be the new world champion because I've like dethroned.
Dethroned.
Or
That sounds like a procedure.
Yeah.
Seems
Yeah.
harsh. Seems
All right.
hard. Go for it.
All right. So Okay, so that's 20 feet, so like what, 15?
Something like that. I don't know. Like I said, that's why we're not in space. We're in an act.
Neither do I. Alright, so then,
How old are you,
so that's
20?
fine.
Okay.
No, I'm actually like 5. So,
You're first. No, you're first. You're up. You're up.
You're up. You got to do the honours.
Yep.
but then I have to have something to actually like work towards.
Work towards.
Alright,
Okay.
yeah, I'll go first,
Okay.
right? So the key here is getting a good stance. You gotta get it, feel your way into it, you know? Alright, here we go.
Oh. Nice.
Yeah!
Alright, so we need to help.
Okay. Here we go. Where's the lines this one?
This one here.
This one.
Don't step over.
If you step over, you disqualify.
Be a foot foul.
Oh.
Ah, camera guy.
There we go.
Alright.
Interference.
Alright.
Ready when you are.
Alright. Oh my god, I'm nervous about this.
Yeah, me too.
Like, I feel
Oh.
pressure. I'm thinking, like,
Get it. It's really hard.
Look how dainty you're holding the plane. It's like he's pointing his finger.
so I'm trying to, like, okay. Shh.
Whoa.
I mean, like, how did that happen?
Oh,
That was you. You were so nervous that you were like.
Alright, well, thank
High
you so much for that, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And again, we are at the Sydney Story Factory in Redfern. They hold plenty of workshops, including origami workshops, reading, writing workshops, how to cook, all sorts of kiddie creative stuff. So plenty of activities to work the imagination and bring out their inner child again. And they do adult ones as well, so feel free to come in and check it out.